Good morning and welcome to the weekly Wednesday webinar. My name is Christiana Holmes, and today we're going to be going through chapters 2 and 3 of the newly revised Plans Development Manual, and this will cover key sheets and typical section sheets. In this webinar, we're going to create a roadway key sheet with a map, label and fill out the key sheet data, label the project location points, create the index and place it with Link Data Manager, place the plan component information, create a key sheet without a map, and create a typical section sheet. And we're going to start in this Wakulla map DGN, and the project I'm working on is the same one that Vern's been doing in his webinars, and it's this project in Wakulla County. You can get any county map from the Surveying and Mapping website, and there's a link provided for that website in the manual. I'll just show you the website right here. And there's all the counties, and you can download the DGN or a PDF. So in SS3, there's this new FDOT Plan Development Workflows, and if you first open up MicroStation, you'll probably see the main classic, but if you go down below that, that's where it's located. And then the second option for the Plans Development Workflows is the key sheet options. And if you want to create a key sheet with a map, the first icon is the tool to do so. So if you just click on that icon, and I get this alert that says the file is write protected, so I just click yes, open it, and read only. And it'll reopen the file that you were just in, and it brings up this key map sheet clip dialog. And the first thing you want to do on this dialog is set the scale. There are 3 different options for the scale. There's 1 inch equals 2 miles, 1 inch equals 4 miles, and 1 inch equals 8 miles. And it just depends on how big you need your map to be for your project. For this webinar, I'm going to just leave it at 1 inch equals 2 miles. The next thing to set is the key map type. And under this menu are all of the different types of components that could have a key sheet. So there's roadway, there's right-of-way, landscaping, lighting, signalizations, and signing and pavement markings. For this purpose, we're going to use the roadway key sheet. And just below that, there's the toggle. If you have a federally funded project, so if your project is federally funded, just toggle that on. I'm going to leave it toggled off for now. For the DGN file name, the file name is already set to keys.srdo1.dgn, and it's set to the folder path of my project. If you have a key sheet that you already have 01 and you want to create an 02, you just click this new and save the file name to 02. For the county map name, click on the Browse button, and then locate the county map file that you would have downloaded from the Surveying and Mapping website, and that's the file that I'm in right now. So this wakulla.dgn, and click Open. And then click on the Define Area or Define Clip Area button, and this will place a light blue clip area at the end of your cursor. And basically, you just find the area of the map that you want to clip for your project, and position this blue box over it. and then data point inside microstation. And then you'll see that the coordinates for that clip area were populated in the left X and Y and right X and Y boxes down here. And the size of that box is set to the scale that you have set up here. So it was for 2 miles. And then once you have that all set up, you just hit this clip key map, and it'll go out and create the key sheet file for you with the map clipped to the key sheet. It also brings up Sheet Navigator and places this north arrow in scale. The plot scale, if you'll notice, is automatically set to 1,000 or 10,560. That is basically for the 2 miles scale. You'll also want to set the drawing scale to the same size. And there's not a drawing scale that's set up for that size, but you can go to custom and enter that value for the design and leave the paper at 1 and click OK, and that'll set a custom value for your key sheet. And the reason you want to do this is when we go to place the index using Link Data Manager, it's going to need to use this drawing scale. I have a couple questions I'm going to take a minute to answer. Is there any way to make the clip area transparent? That's something I'll have to look into with the VBA. I'm not sure if there's a way to do that or not, but I'll write that down and check with Bob. Once you have your drawing scale set, you can go to your sheet navigator that's already popped up, and you can add the sheet number, the FPID number, and the county and the road number to your key sheet through Sheet Navigator. So if you just populate all of those fields, and click Save Sheet, you'll notice that it filled this information out for you in your key sheet. Then you just close Sheet Navigator. Once the sheet information has been saved, now you can add all of the other project information, such as your length of project, your FDOT project manager, the description of your project, and so on. So we're going to start out over here. This governing and standard specification is now part of the key sheet cell. So this will automatically be located on the key sheet when it's placed. And if you want to just add your dates in here, if you go to the roadway plans workflow and click on this edit text, these are inner data fields that are set up in this cell. So if you just click on that, it'll bring up the wording or the text editor, and if you double click on the inner data field, it'll bring up this inner data field or edit inner data field dialog. And then you can just type in the year for your design standards and click OK, and then double click on the inner data field for the specifications, and this has enough characters to accommodate for the month and the year. So like if you have January, you would type in JAN and then the year, or if you have July, you would type in JUL. And then once you have that set up in there, you just data point inside the microstation and it'll populate in there. And you would do the same thing for your project length, which is, and then if you had to make the length of your data field longer or change the justification, you could do so inside this inner data field or edit inner data field dialog. Like for instance, if you needed to lengthen the name of the project manager, and so on. And the only thing that the sheet navigator doesn't populate with respect to the sheet information or the project information is the section number, so you'll have to do that manually as well. I have another question out here. It says, is the inner data field icon gone in SS3? If you're talking about the actual tool, you can still get to the inner data field icon under the main classic. It's just not in this FDOT Plans Development Workflow. Next, the engineer of record information has to be added to the key sheet, and if you go back up to your key sheets workflow, there's the icon that says place engineer of record information. This will bring up the MicroStation place active cell command with the engineer of record cell attached to it. And the scale is already set to the plot scale. So you just place that cell underneath this plans prepared by wording. And then you would do the same thing to fill it out. And then you would need to place the engineer record at the bottom of the sheet as well. And the easiest way to do so is to use this place text command. And then under the parameters, you can set this, we'll leave the method at by origin and then set the style to one of the FDOT styles. And then use annotation scale with it set to 0.07. And then for the justification, set that to left descender, and that way when you enter your information you can snap to that line. And you'll probably want to change the level as well. And then when you get out into the plan view, you can snap to that line, and then it places the text right in the perfect location. And do the same thing for the PE number. And let me look at the question log and see if there's anything. Now we're going to label the project location areas, and the requirements for the key sheet project location labels, according to the PPM, are begin-end project labels, begin-end proposed bridge labels, station equations, bridge culvert labels, and township and range labels. So for this project, we only have the begin-end project labels and then the township and range labels. So let's set the level to text label. And the easiest way to do the begin end project labels is to use this place a text label tool. And then we're going to set these parameters up again so that it will set all of the labeling and the dimension styles up for us. So you can leave the text style at FDOT small, and then if you look under the dimension style, there's already these styles set up for the key sheet begin project and end project labels. So for the first one, we're going to select the begin project, and then it sets all of this up for you. So basically, you don't have to do anything except for select the dimension style and then type in the values for your begin project. And then now there's like you can't do the control or use the little brackets for your center line. So if you look under the symbols dialog, you'll find the center line symbol there. And basically you just find the location of your project and then place your label out here, and then you'll notice it's kind of hard to see with this map, but that it placed the arrow or the terminator that you need for begin project. There's a question that says, what is the purpose of the data field to the right of the FDOT project manager field? If you're talking about this field over here, this is to describe your project. So like this one is this project will be going from, it's a reconstruction or a new construction of State Road 61 or Crawfordville Highway from State Road 30 to Alaska Way. So this is where your project description will go. Now we'll do the end project label the same way, except for we want to change the dimension style to the key sheet end project. And then you find your end project location and place your label. There's one other type of project label or location label that is required, and that's to the label that points to the Florida map to show us where the project is in reference to the state of Florida. So just as we just did with the begin end project labels, we're going to use this place a text label tool, and then we're going to change this dimension style to key sheet locate, and then we're just going to type in project location, and then just data point to somewhere or a reference point where the project will be located, and then place it in there. The last type of labels for this project will be the range and township labels. The township and range information can be found on the county map that was used to clip this sheet. So if we go back into that file, that wakulla.dgn, you'll see on the side of the map there's these township and range text, and this is the, where you can get this information. And also on the legend, it'll show you where the lines are for your township and range. So for this map, it's these like purple dash lines. So that way you can go in and figure out where your township and range is for your project, and our project is in this area. So to place the range information, you just go back to this key sheets workflow, And this second icon is the plane's range map label. And basically you just find the those thick purple dashed lines from your map, and then place the cell, the range map label cell, right above that. And then you basically change these data fields to display the correct information. And you'll want to do that for any place that the range line crosses your clipped map area. And then for the township, you do the same thing. You just use this third icon that says Place Township Map Label. And then edit the values to be the correct township location. And that should be everything for your project location labels. The next thing we're going to do is create and place the key sheet index, which has now been automated using Sheet Navigator and Link Data Manager. So the first thing you want to do is create an index of our sheets using Sheet Navigator. So there's two ways you can, or a few ways you can open Sheet Navigator. There's one icon under the roadway plans. There's an icon up here at the top, and then you can also still get to it from the menu. So if we go to File, New, and then we want to build an index of our project, and then we're going to process new or modified files only. And then click Build Index. And a batch process will go through all of the DGN files and build an index of the sheet files that are in your project. And once your index is built, you go back up to File and go to Generate Component Index Files. It'll bring up this dialog, and if there are multiple components, like you have signing and payment marking or signalizations, they'll all be listed here. But for this webinar, we only have roadway components, so then you would just toggle on the ones that you want to create your index files for, and then click Generate. And then it'll pop up and say it's created one component index file, and then tell you what folder it was placed in and the file name. Just click OK, and you can close out of Sheet Navigator. And then now you want to open Link Data Manager, and you can open it from this top row of icons, or you can still get to it through our menu. So once you have your Link Data Manager open, you want to create a new link, and then click on this Select Existing File, and then it'll bring up the roadway folder, but you select the file that was just created, which is this component index Excel file, and click Open. And then you can give it a description if you want. You want to make sure you select this worksheet, which will be sheet 1, and then set up your graphic settings. I'm going to leave it at FDOT, and then you want to make sure that you toggle on this Use Drawing Scale and the Update Graphics on File Open. And then you click OK, and then move this out of the way. The index will appear on the end of your cursor, and then you can just snap to this sheet number wording and place the index directly in your file. And then since we had this, let me bring up the properties again. Since we have this update graphics on file open, if the index changes, say you have to change sheet numbers and you generate a new component Excel file, when you open this file again, it'll update automatically. There's a couple questions I see out here. It says that I see the way you're labeling and I prefer that way, but it doesn't match the exhibit in the PPM volume 2. You'll have to get with me and show me what exactly is not matching, but the PPM probably does need to be updated. Is there a reason for having all of the text as data fields? Is it quicker to change text with data fields? The data fields are placed in the cell so that you will know where to place your text, and there's no question of where you should put the text for Project Manager, and it's already stored there. Can you show what the Excel spreadsheet looks like? Yes, I can open that up. So it's under the roadway folder, and then if you had signing, it would be under, like, your signing index would be under your signing folder, and so on. But it's basically just a sheet with the numbers and the description of the sheets. The components of the contract plan set, that is now also being placed with Link Data Manager. So if you click on this, create a new link, and then click on Create New from Template. And under the text note templates, there's this key sheet plan components. And if you click OK, it'll ask you to go out and save the file in your project. I'm going to place it under the roadway folder. And then use drawing scale, make sure that's toggled on, and click OK. Now it defaults to have all of the different types of plan components. So if you want to update that or change that, if you right click on that link and click Open Source, it'll open the text file, and you can remove the components that are not for your project. And then click File, Save, close that, the text file, right click again, and click Update Now. There's a question that says, why are my typical section sheets after the plan sheets? It's just because they were numbered like 14 and not 2. It numbers it in order of the number that's on the sheets. That's just about it for placing a key sheet with a map. Now let's create a key sheet without a map. First we need to create a new key sheet file, so we can do that by going to the Create New File from the roadway plans, or you can get to it still from Create Edit File under the Actions menu. Make sure your project information is all set up correctly, and then change the file group to Roadway Design. Actually, let's do a signing and payment marking one. And then click Key Sheet, and then click Create, and Open File. And you can leave the plot scale to 50. Click OK to close out of that. There are several ways. Basically, when you create a key sheet without a map, it's just like placing a cell key sheet. And you can get to the key sheet cells from the cell library, the roadway cell library. All of the key sheets are listed under here. But to make it easier, we added the right-click menu. So for just like this key sheet is for signing and payment marking, if you right-click and hold, there'll be two options that say Place Signing and Payment Marking Key Sheet or Place Signing and Payment Marking Key Sheet Federally Funded. So then you just select that, and that brings the right key sheet up for you. And place it in your file. I know we've had a lot of complaints about us taking it off the menu, so for MR1, which will be released tomorrow, it'll be back on the menu under Sheets, Actions, Sheets, Key Sheets. They're all listed there again. So once you've placed the cell, you would just go back and label all of the information just like you did for the previous key sheet or for the roadway key sheet. You just don't have a map. And then if we had some signing and payment marking plans, we could create an index just like we did with the roadway key sheet, and label all of this information using Sheet Navigator. There's a question out here that says, can you show how to plot the key sheet with the map properly? Depends on how you're printing or plotting, but there's a key sheet pin table that was set up by Jimmy that I believe that you're supposed to use, and that will plot the key sheet properly. I haven't had to do any plotting, so if there's any issues with that, you can give me or Jimmy a call. So that's pretty much all we have for key sheets. So let's now create a typical section sheet. And if we go here again and create new file, let's change this back to roadway. Towards the bottom there's the typical section sheets and details. There's also this typical data sheet. That's for your typical section data package. I already have an O1 out there, so it's going to create an O2. And click Open File. And under typical sections, there's a couple different tools that are available to place your typical section sheets. You can also use the right-click menu for this file. It'll have Place a Plan Sheet, and it'll open the typical section cell library. The same things are available here to place a plan sheet, open the typical section cell library, or the typical section cell web page. Once you have your plan sheet placed, then you can open the typical section cell library and find the typical section that you need for your project. For this project, we need the new 4-lane subdivided urban. Hit placement or double click on it and then place it inside your sheet. And then once this is placed, you'll need to edit the typical section cell to reflect your project. Now sometimes you may need to change some things, so you may have to drop the cell and then change or edit some of the portions of the cell, but all of the text can be edited without dropping the cell. So if you don't need to change any of the the line work, then you can just go to this edit text tool and edit the text as needed. So like if you needed to change the right-of-way minimums, you could do so. And this one I need to lengthen the inner data field. See, once you get to 10, the length is 10 now, so once you get to 10, it won't let you go any further. So if you just add same thing for the station. You'll also need to place like your traffic data information on your typical section cell, and you can do that from the cell library, or you can use the cell web pages, whichever you prefer. And then these are inner data fields as well, so then you would just edit those according to the project information that you have. And so on for the rest of the information. So you can change the design speed. There's a comment that says the right-of-way lines seem to be off scale. How would you fix that? You could drop the cell and fix it, but it should be coming in right. I'll have to double check on the cell and find out why this is not coming in at the right scale. It says at this point, when filling in the data fields, can we just delete them and place the text? Yeah, if you don't like the inner data fields, you can just enter the text in and replace the inner data fields. They're not necessary. And then the last thing you want to do, of course, is label your sheet with Sheet Navigator. And then save settings. And then like I was saying before, if you were to open Sheet Navigator and recreate your project index, and it shows the new typical section sheet that I just created, and then you generate the component index files again. And now that I have a signing sheet out there for the key sheet, there's both of them are showing up. But I'll just click on roadway and click generate. And then if I go back into my key sheet file, it'll have that updated in my index. And that's all I have for this webinar today. The processes for the key sheet and typical sections are pretty much the same as it was in SS2, but there's just some added functionality to make the plans development faster and easier. If you have any questions, you can contact me at my phone or email, or contact the support email. And the plans development training manual and dataset is located at this link on our website. So if you want to go through chapters 2 and 3 on your own and try out the new tools, you can do so. Thank you for listening to my webinar, and have a great day.